Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're going to jump into Games Workshop's most recent announcement. They're going to be raising prices in March up to 20%. That being said, I do want to remind you guys that I am a longtime hobbyist. I love Games Workshop products and IP. I've been playing the game since Rogue Trader days, and I have a dedicated channel on the internet to Games Workshop products and tabletop games. So I don't hate Games Workshop. I'm not some person that just makes videos about how much I hate them. 90-something% of my videos are on the hobby, articles, releases, reactions, reviews, conversions, tutorials. I run a commission studio, almost exclusively painting Games Workshop products. So you could argue that, if anything, I'm a fanboy. But I'm not bought and paid for by Games Workshop. I'm not a sellout. I tell the truth. And in this video, I'm going to use Games Workshop's legal documents on their actual semi-annual report and factual statistics over the last few years to expose Games Workshop for their lies and prove without a doubt, based on these facts, that the price increases are not justified and they are far outweighing the incurred cost due to the pandemic, shipping, transportation, Brexit, any of these other things. We're going to take into account all of the additional costs, and then we're going to look at the net profits, the amount of money based on percentage and dollars that Games Workshop makes compared to its sales and compared to the increased costs. And I am going to, without a doubt, prove to you that Games Workshop is taking advantage of their customers. That being said, let's jump right in. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video or get something out of this content, make sure to like and subscribe. So their article that they just released, important price news coming, update. You can hardly pick up a newspaper or see a headline today without mentioning of rising costs. Electricity, gas, raw materials, shipping, inflation is abroad in the land, and we're not immune to its effects. So regrettably, we'll soon be increasing prices a little. In most cases, this will be about 5%. So as an example of what you can expect on most kits, a box of Space Marine Intercessors will go up just 1 pound, from 35 pounds to 36 pounds. A few things are going up about 10%, e.g. books, scenery, resin miniatures. And there are a couple of outliers, e.g. Blood Bowl teams and metal miniatures, which are going up around 20%. The price change will come into effect on the 7th of March. We're writing now because we wanted to give you as much notice as we can so that you can take advantage of the current prices. There are 2 bits of good news. There's a heap of things that we've been able to keep at the same price. There are certain currencies where we won't be changing any prices. We understand that no one likes a price rise, so we've done our best to minimize any changes and keep the things you use every day, paints, etc., at current levels. And to make sure that it remains as easy to get started with Warhammer, we work to exclude most starter sets from the changes. What's not going up in price? Paints, brushes, paint sets, tools, the majority of starter sets, getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, getting started with Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warrior starter set, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Harbinger starter set, Warhammer 40,000 Elite Edition, Recruit Edition, Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Starter Set, Warhammer Underworlds Starter Set, Warhammer Underworlds Harrow Deep. Excluded currencies. We're pleased that there are some areas of the globe where we will be able to maintain current prices. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, China RMB. Alright, so we see what they're saying. They're going to raise prices 5% pretty much across the board, with the exception of a couple starter sets. Paints supposedly are going to stay the same price. And then we see that they're going to be raising the price on books, scenery, and resin miniatures 10%. Blood Bowl teams and metal miniatures 20%. And their argument, let's keep in mind, is rising costs. Electricity, gas, raw materials, shipping, and inflation. We know for a fact that Games Workshop recently released its semi-annual report, which is its 6-month reporting with all its legally binding financials. I did a video on this and a deep dive into it because my background is in finance. We're going to just take a quick, brief look at it, and I'm going to prove to you that they are liars, that they are exploiting their customers, and they are far outweighing the additional costs with the additional price increases. So that being said, before we jump right in the semi-annual report, Games Workshop lists off a series of things that are causing price increases, in addition to what's listed here, which is electricity, gas, raw materials, and shipping, and then obviously inflation. They list that they have increased the pay for their employees, which is obviously a good thing. They have cited Brexit as an issue for increased costs. Obviously, shipping and transport, raw materials, paper and packaging from China, and many other things as well. Let's keep in mind that in the financial statement that we're about to look at from Games Workshop, all these things are taken into account. So let's flip over and take a look now. And I will prove to you that Games Workshop are liars and they are exploiting their customers. So here we have Games Workshop's financial. This is the Games Workshop Group PLC ORD 5P, based on their actual statistics of the company, showing their reported numbers on their semi-annual report. So we can look at all these various things, market cap, earnings per share, everything like that, but we're going to skip through all that, and we're just going to look right here at the income statement. What we see here on the income statement is 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20. We see in blue, revenue. We see in green, net income. And we see in orange, profit margin percent. So in 2016, revenue was $158.11 million. Net income was $30.55 million. And profit margin was 19.32%. In 2017, revenue was $221 million. Net income was $59.45 million. And profit margin was 26.87%. 2018, revenue $256 million. Net income $65 million. Profit margin 25.65%. 2019, revenue $269 million. Net income $71 million. Profit margin 26.44%. So we see a pretty clear trend here. For the last 3 years, 2017, 2018, and 2019, we see profit margin right around 26%. And then we know obviously that there have been price increases, inflation, all these various things, including what was listed in the 2021 annual report. But because of the way Games Workshop reports, because of how its fiscal year is, the 2020 report is the most recent one. And that gives us all the data up to what we have currently. And then we'll get a new report, which will be the 2021 report this year. So we see 26% profit margin. What is profit margin for those of you that don't know? It is all your income minus, so all the money that you took in, minus all your expenses, and then it's divided by your total income. So if you took in $100 and it cost you $50 to make the goods, including paying your staff, shipping, transportation, everything, you would take the $100 that you made, subtract out the $50 that it cost you, and you end up with $50 left. And then the percentage is of the initial amount that you end up taking home. So in this case, it would be 50%. So Games Workshop has a traditionally 26% profit margin. In 2020, they raised prices. Their revenue was at all-time highs, $353 million. Their net income was at all-time highs, $122 million. Their profit margin went up to 34.5%. Let's look at this breakdown. So now here we see net margin percent, which is their net profit margin. We see in 2014, it was 10.29%. 2015, 11.43%. 2016, 19.32%. And then 2017, 26.8%. 2018, 25.6%. 2019, 26.4%. And then in 2020, it was 34.54%. So if we take, just to keep it simple, we're going to take 25% and 35%. So in 2019, their profit margin was 25%, and it went up in 2020 to 35%. So what we do is we take 35, we divide it by 25, and we get 1.4. And what that means is they were 100% as profitable, but also another 40% more profitable. So their profit margin from 2019 to 2020 went up by 40%, a 40% increase. So if they were making $100 before, now they're making $140 on the same exact sales after all their expenses are taken into account. So when Games Workshop tells this little crybaby story that they're raising prices again because they're going to go out of business, because they need more money, because their expenses have gone through the roof, they are lying. They are not raising their prices in proportion to the amount of additional expenses that they have. If they were, we would see the numbers go up in nominal terms, the dollar go up in cost and expenses, and the dollars go up in sales, but we would see the profit margin percent, which is what we're looking at, stay here at around 25 or 26%. Instead, we saw it jump an additional 10%, which is an increase from 25 to 35 of 40%. So if you have a company that is selling $1 million and it was making $260,000 in profit, now on that same $1 million in sales, they are making $350,000. So that is a 40% increase. They're making 40% more money on the same sales after all their expenses are taken into account. And then on top of that, as if all of a sudden there's some expenses that are not being taken into account, or something has changed, or inflation's getting really bad, or all of a sudden they're paying their staff a bunch more money, or shipping costs are going through the roof, or packaging, or material costs, whatever their argument is, that they're going to try to act like the reason for these new price increases after they've consistently been raising their prices far above their additional expenses. Here we can see we have current, which what that means is that's the most relevant data that's not yet been reported based on their semi-annual reporting. They report every 6 months. We see currently it's at 37.18%. So it's actually trending higher. So they've already been making more money on the same amount of sales by raising their prices, exploiting their customers far beyond the additional costs that they're paying. They're raising their prices exponentially more than what it's costing them to run their business. But not only that, but we see that they're already trending even higher, and that's before the price increases that are coming in March of between 5, 10, and even 20% on some of their products. So we can expect that those numbers will jump even higher. It's absolutely criminal. And for them to sit here and absolutely lie about them needing to raise their prices because their costs are going up, sure, that is true. Their costs are going up. Things are getting more expensive. That is 100% true. But the amount that they are raising their prices is not proportionate to the amount that their costs are going up. So if they're not going to start paying their staff more proportionately, if they're not paying more in shipping or taxes, or Brexit's not affecting them, or raw materials, or whatever, equal to what they're raising their prices, what that is, that's called pricing power. And that is abusing your customers because you're citing issues with the supply chain or with your business and saying, hey, in order to remain profitable, we have to raise prices to make up for the increase in costs. But that's not what they're doing. They're raising prices more than what they need to do. So they're actually going to be more profitable by taking advantage of, by abusing, by lying to their customers. These are hard facts. This is actual data legally reported from Games Workshop. So there is literally no doubt that this is factual information. So if you don't agree with this, I'm glad to explain it further, or if you don't understand it. But this is literally what my background is in, and we're looking at hard numbers, and we're looking at them in the most simplistic way possible. Net margin, which is literally all of their sales, all the money that they take in, all the revenue that they have, minus all of their expenses for everything that they have listed and so many more things. and then subtract the expenses from the total income, and then when you're all said and done, you get your total profit. And then that total profit as a percentage of their sales is what we're looking at here with this net margin percent. So that means that 35% of all the money that they take in is pure profit after everything else is taken into account. And we know, historically speaking, for the last 3 years leading up to that, it was 25%. So they are making 40% more money because of their price raises over the last year. And now on top of that, they're going to raise their prices another 5, 10, or even 20%, even though we see factually the current numbers are trending even higher. So if they keep up at this rate, we can estimate that by the end of this 6-month period, that their profit margin will be up to 40%. So from 26% to 40% in 1 year's time. That is absolutely criminal. And to sit here and act like they are raising these prices because they need to, because they have to, just to keep up with price increases, is a blatant lie. And we have presented factual data that exposes that lie. So Games Workshop is lying to us. They're taking advantage of us, and here are the facts. So that's it. I'm going to keep this relatively short. I wanted to just break it down in the most simplistic way to prove to you all that Games Workshop has lied. They have been exposed by the numbers, by legally binding documents, publicly reported data that they cannot lie about. But they can lie to us and tell us that the reason they're raising prices again is because their costs are going up. So there you have it. That's our video for today. Again, if you're new to the channel, I'm glad that you found me. But that being said, the majority of the content I put out on this channel is Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, and warcry content. I do run a commission-based painting studio. We do all kinds of videos, reactions, reviews, unboxing. I love Games Workshop products. I love the IP. I'm a longtime player since Rogue Trader days, over 25 years in the hobby, and I almost exclusively play Games Workshop tabletop games. That being said, we do all kinds of tutorials for magnetizing, painting, converting, lighting, all kinds of positive stuff. But this is just absolutely criminal for them to sit here and take advantage of their customers, of their loyal fans. And this is just one more in a long string of petty, poor business decisions of Games Workshop and their corporate sellout shills being exposed for taking advantage of the people that love their product the most, that literally keep them in business. But that's it for today. Let me know what you think down below, how you feel about this. Are you a Games Workshop fanboy and you're 100% don't care about the increase in prices? Are you priced out of the hobby already, so this doesn't even matter anyway? Is this the final breaking point for you, and now you're ready to move on? What's your honest opinion? What do you think about these numbers? Am I wrong about something? Am I missing something? Do you disagree with me? Do you think it's good that Games Workshop can just jack up their prices at will and lie and say that it's because they need to? I'm honestly curious about your opinions, so leave them down below. But that being said, going to go ahead and cut it off there. Wanted to keep this relatively short. You can tell, obviously, that I am a little upset about this. I'm in a position where I can purchase what I want. I don't have to worry about 5 or 10 or 20% increases in prices. It sucks, obviously, but I can still get what I want. Doesn't matter nearly as much to me. What I don't like to see, though, is companies taking advantage of their customers, of their fans, of their community. What I don't like to see is poor business practices, because that's my world. That's the world I grew up in. That's where I made my money. That's my professional scope of things. And I know already that the community is not in a good place. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of people who have given up on the hobby, people that want to get their kids into the hobby, but just can't quite justify it with the prices how they already are. So another 5, 10, 20% on top of that, is that really going to grow the hobby? Is that going to make Games Workshop bigger? No, it's not. It's going to make them more profitable, but it's going to cost them fans. It's going to cost them customers. And once again, it is going to hurt the hobby, because people are going to leave for other alternative games, alternative miniatures, or 3D print. And when it's all said and done, that's less people playing the game. That's less people having fun. So if you love Warhammer, if you love Games Workshop IP and toys, miniatures, whatever you want to call it, games, this should make you just as mad as it makes me. Because the fact of the matter is, if you love it and you enjoy it, you should want other people to love and enjoy the same thing the same way that you do. And this is not going to help that. This is going to hurt that. Less people will be able to enjoy the hobby. Less people will be able to afford to play the hobby, to play the games, to enjoy the miniatures, to do what we love. So if that doesn't make you mad, I don't know what to say. But that's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man. Games Workshop has been exposed. Shots fired. And I'm out of here.